It's done. Daniel Levy has made his decision on Ange Postecoglou's future. The only thing it is now is to see what the decision is. But if we know what decision that is. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is your boy Mr. Box Office from Mr. Box Office TV, back with another video for you today. And in this video I want to speak about Ange Postecoglou's future and Daniel Levy's decision that is done on Ange Postecoglou's future. This is according to a former scout, Mick Brown, who was, as in the article, as quoted and reported, it says, well, Postecoglou broken the golden rule, going and clashing with the fans. And Daniel Levy has already made his decision with his future, with Ange Postecoglou's future. Now, it's a case of what sort of replacements he's looking for. And that's an interesting thing, because now you're seeing a lot of now the journalists, they're all now coming out and saying now that even regardless of tonight's game, which is we're steaming away towards our very, very important game against Frankfurt in the quarterfinals of the second leg of the Europa League. Even if Tottenham Hotspurs miraculously get through and then go through and win the semi-final, get through to the final, win the competition of Europa League, and get back into the Champions League because of that, making, I have to say this, Postecoglou the most successful manager of recent times, of the last 2 decades. That's factual. You have to say that. Still, Ange Postecoglou will lose his job. Now, from Mr. Box Office, that's brilliant for Mr. Box Office's ears. Because for me, nothing will change even if we win this competition. Because for me, he will still do his same tactics. No one will improve. And the only question you'll say is that what we're going to do next season in terms of another competition. Because then it kind of leads you to thinking, well, if you can do it here in Europa League, which, let's be honest here, the teams in the Europa League this season haven't been to a great standard, but, you know, it's to a standard where, you know, we're at that standard at the moment. But when you look at it from an overview, you can sit there and say, well, if you can win this competition, you should be able to win the Carabao Cup very easily next season, or the FA Cup, because this is a challenge, this is a slog. The Champions League teams are not in the competition now to drop into the competition anymore, but if you can do this, you can do anything. Because in a cup, you've always got that chance. There's only a handful of games that you've got to manage, and if you can manage those, you can get through those and win a cup next season. But also you can look at it and say, with the money coming in from the Champions League, which, you know, we're not going to get those caliber of Champions League players. We might get the odd player that's very promising, like we got with our Bergvals, our Archie Grays, our Alderbears. And you might say that, but you don't see us doing the top players, which has been a problem for Tottenham Hotspur. But you will get money, and we will get the opportunity to get players to help us through that Champions League campaign. So, in one way, you're sitting there saying you've got to give him next season because he's won the ultimate, a big, very massive competition for Tottenham Hotspur in recent times. But in another way, you're sitting there saying, well, also for him, Ange Postecoglou, now he knows the fan base are toing and throwing against him. Yes, there are certain people against him. But why would he want to stay as well? He could just say, like I predicted at the beginning of the season, he could just walk and say, well, I've got that on my resume. I've got Tottenham Hotspurs' first trophy in how many years? The biggest trophy in the last couple of decades. So now I'm looked as the most successful manager of Tottenham Hotspur's history, regardless of what we've done in the league. So I can go off and say, well, I've done this, and my career can go up and up and up. So I don't need Tottenham anymore. I've proven my point. I've won my second season. He's proved all the doubters wrong, like myself. So why should I do that? Why should I stay? Why should I stay? So there's so many angles to this, which is making it very, very interesting. A little storyline that that you really want to see what the piece of the what the outcome is, and what exciting outcomes you can get from this. EastEnders eat your heart out. But for me, at the moment, when you look at Tottenham Hotspur as a whole, this season, this has been an absolute disaster. 17 defeats this season in the league. 21 overall this season. Last season, people say we got fifth. Well, look at Nottingham Forest right now. And they've got more games this season because what are they doing in the FA Cup? In the FA Cup semi-final against Man City. What were we doing last season? We got knocked out of every single cup competition last season. So we had least games last season than any of the Premier League teams. We're losing more than most of everybody other than the bottom three. And now, you've got journalists, according to David Alstein, very well-trusted journalist in David Alstein saying, well, now the hierarchy are saying, well, this ain't good enough. Excuses are not washing with them anymore. And so, what are you going to do about that, Ange? Like, you're making excuses. The whole mole outburst about the mole at Tottenham Hotspur is kind of going showing that the pressure is really getting to Ange Postecoglou, and then showing me why I said what I said at the beginning of his tenure, why I could not get on board with this manager, why when I had big up to Danny Kiriakou, but when he told me to watch his documentary and say, oh, it's going to make me feel better, well, look what that documentary told me, nothing. Because it told me a lot what I saw now. Absolutely. Because it's shown me, when I told people players weren't improving, look what's happened. It told me, when I said everyone's going over the top about this manager, look what happened. When I told people, right, that we don't play great football, it doesn't fascinate me. Look what's happened. And see, the receipts are straight there, right in front of you. The people ask me now, because now it looks so ominous now, and now everyone's so against him. They say they don't like him, don't like the way he interviews. Even though he wasn't lying to us, like Daniel Levy wasn't lying to us about, and he weren't lying to us that they come here not for football reasons. They didn't come here for the football. They came for the business side of things. Ange Postecoglou wasn't lying to us, saying, well, I'm still going to play my football. This is the way I play. If you don't like it, don't hire me. So he hasn't lied. To be fair, he has not lied. It's just, at the same time, he's showing that he's not a very good manager. Well, very good coach, I would say, because that's the definition of what I want, a coach. And this is where it goes. I want to segue to my next thing I need to speak about. The replacements. Because people will ask Mr. Box Office, the main event, about replacements. By the way, just to segue before that, Mr. Box Office isn't in a good mood. Not in a good mood whatsoever. So just so we can just make that absolutely clear, I'm seething. And it ain't because of the football. It ain't because of the deluded fan base we've got, the Tottenham Hotspur fan base. That's all I've got to say. So let's get straight into it about a segue into something else that I want to speak about, the replacements for Tottenham Hotspur manager. And it's interesting now because for me, I think it's quite simple where we need to get coaches. We can get coaches. There are loads of coaches out there. Now, you can look at the Premier League experience and look at Andoni Areola. Similar background to Poch. Has done some impressive things at Bournemouth with the resources that they've got. His future's in doubt because he hasn't signed a new contract, but there are rumours that he could be swayed, or he could be swayed to stay at Bournemouth. That's an option. Marco Silva. People question Marco Silva on his time at Everton, but then he's learnt his misdemeanors at Everton. He's come over to Fulham, and yet there was a little bit of a wobble because he said he wanted to leave and stuff. But look at the things that he's done with that squad that he has. The squad that people say that we've got worse than. When, let's be honest here, we have got a good squad. Regardless of what I think about certain players, we have got a good squad that have got certain qualities. But we should be better than Fulham. But the manager's doing more with that squad than our manager is at the moment with our squad. Another one that's come up, and to be honest with you, he's only come up because now I've started to realise this guy's got a lot about him. And he had time off after Frankfurt, after winning Europa League. And now you see what's going on with him now at Crystal Palace. And yes, he's not done well recently in a couple of games, but you can see the players that are improving, like Walton, like Eze, Elise, who went to Bayern Munich. He improved Mark Guay, Jean-Philippe Mateta, and Maxime Lacroix as well. You know, these players, the way that he's moulded some of the team. And that manager is Oliver Glasner. Now, for me, you know, he looks a very good coach. That he's got a system, he's able to adapt. All these managers are able to try to adapt. And this is what I need as a coach. Now, I'm not expecting a coach to be here for more than 18 months. No. The ultimate should be our director of football, which is another video for another time. But ultimately, this guy looks like someone that is able to manage his squad, a small squad as well, get the best out of the squad that he's got, improve players, be able to adapt, plays with a three at the back as well, which might suit us better than what we have at the moment with the way that Ange plays his system. And I think we'll see better with these players, with this manager. Now, I'm not expecting us to do anything in terms of winning major honours or going to winning leagues or anything like that. No, we never were that team. But we need that sort of coach to do that. There are other coaches out there in Europe that you can go and get that are unknown. Now, I know that's not going to happen with Tottenham because they don't roll the dice with those sort of things. They don't do that. The only reason one that they did was Martin Jol, but Martin Jol came luckily. He was a very lucky choice, wasn't he? Back early 2000s. Obviously, you can make a call that Ange Postecoglou was a roll of the dice, but that was kind of really on certain people that knew about him, and we got him from Celtic. But would we have looked at him before he went to Celtic? That would have been an interesting question. I don't think we would have done. But the main thing is, at the moment, we do need a coach. Another one as well that's been quoted or reported is Thomas Frank, who's done very well at Brentford as well. Not to mention him, not to forget him as well. Reported as well. So it's very interesting, and it's all on this game against Frankfurt, getting us into the semi-final as we are streaming ahead to the back end of the season. And could this end up being Tottenham's most successful season in the last how many decades? Because of this Europa League, despite the league. We still got Man United in there. You still got Lazio in there, Bono Glint, Atletico Bilbao. And this is where the question is going to be asked. Rangers are in the competition as well. So we've got to see Tottenham step up in this game. Away at Frankfurt, very, very difficult with their fan base. And hopefully they all step up. Because if it don't happen, it's an end of the season for Tottenham Hotspur. End of the season for Tottenham Hotspur fans. An end, definitely, for Ange Postecoglou. Tottenham will have tonight, hopefully, if they're in the starting lineup. I definitely know that one person's going to be in the starting lineup tonight. Van der Ven and possibly Tell in the starting lineup, who are looked as very good lucky charms against Frankfurt. With Van der Ven playing 3 times, and he's won there once and drew 2 times there, and Mathis Tell, who's played there 5 times. I don't know how it was coming from the bench or anything like that. I don't know, but from what I see here, he's won there twice and drawing 3 games as well. So these 2 could be a good omen, good lucky charm for us. So we have to wait and see. That's all, folks. Take care of yourselves. Please like and subscribe and put your notifications on for any content that I'm doing soon. We're going to be switching up soon, like I said, I promised, and I'll promise it even more. And as always, if you didn't know, get to know. Support your boy, Mr. Box Office. Subscribe and like. And come on, you Spurs. And we're out.